Welcome! Today we're diving into the world of oil pastels, a perfect medium for capturing vibrant, high energy artwork like our jellyfish piece. Whether you're familiar with oil pastels or trying them out for the first time, this medium offers so much room to play with color, texture, and movement, which is why it's fantastic for this project. Let's start by talking a bit about oil pastels and why they're so unique. Oil pastels are unlike any other medium. They're made with pigment combined with a non-drying oil and wax binder. This composition makes them soft, buttery, and highly pigmented, which means the colors can be incredibly vibrant, perfect for making your artwork pop. You can create everything from bold, opaque lines to soft, blended areas. So they are versatile, but they do take a little bit of practice. Blending is where oil pastels really shine. As you'll see in our tutorial, we'll blend colors directly on the paper to achieve smooth transitions. Because the pastels are soft, they layer beautifully and let you build up rich, multi-dimensional colors. A little tip, I like to use the pastels themselves for blending instead of my finger or a blending stump. This way, you preserve the texture and pigmentation, and you avoid smudging or removing the pigment. We're working on toned paper today, which is a great choice because it allows both light and dark colors to stand out. The toned background can actually enhance the pastel colors, giving your artwork even more depth and richness. If you're experimenting with oil pastels for the first time, I recommend trying them on toned paper. It's an easy way to bring more contrast into your piece. For this piece, we're using a mix of grays, purples, blues, and some bright accent colors, as well as white and black. These will all bring a sense of energy and movement. Oil pastels are pretty forgiving, so don't worry too much about being precise. As we layer colors, you'll see how we can create different effects just by adjusting the pressure on the pastel. Oil pastels can feel a bit unpredictable at first, but that's part of the charm. If you press lightly, you get a softer, more translucent mark. Press harder, and you get that full, bold color. So for this project, especially with the jellyfish's organic shape, try experimenting with pressure to capture its fluidity and energy. Today's project is a jellyfish and we'll be capturing its movement and the luminous quality of its shape using oil pastels. Don't worry if your lines aren't perfect. This medium lets us work with loose, expressive strokes that are actually very forgiving. It's about capturing the essence and energy of your subject. So, as we go through the steps, I'll show you how to sketch, layer, blend, and add pops of color to make this jellyfish come to life. Oil pastels can be a little messy, but once you see how they create rich, vibrant textures, I think you'll love working with them. Let's dive in. Start by sketching out the main shapes of the jellyfish, the bell, and the long flowing arms. Don't worry about perfect anatomy here, just capture the essence. Feel free to use my template, but I encourage you to try freehand. Jellyfish are made of flowing and organic shapes, so there's no wrong shape. With our sketch done, let's fill in the bottom quarter of the bell with gray. We'll also lightly trace over the lines of the jellyfish, and this will give us a good base for building colors, adding depth and structure to our jellyfish. Now, let's move to a light purple pastel. Starting just above the gray, add light purple to the next quarter of the bell, gently blending it down to meet the gray. Bring that purple into the inside of the arms as well, filling in the shapes that define the inner portion of the jellyfish's folded arms. Next, we'll go back to our gray and blend it into the light purple to create a multifaceted version of this color. Use the pastel itself rather than your fingers to push the colors together. This technique keeps the colors vibrant and prevents pushing the pigment off the paper. Now for the dark colors. Use dark purple on the neck section of the bell and finish off the dark blue at the top. Add these colors to the outer edges of the folded arms as well. By layering these values, we create depth to give form to our jellyfish. Again, we're blending using the pastels and not our fingers. The number one frustration I see when students are using pastels is that they overblend with their fingers or a blending stump and end up losing all their pigment. Okay, here comes the fun part. Take a bright pink, light blue, lime green, and maybe some yellow, and add quick, sketchy pops of color throughout. The actual colors don't matter as much as keeping them consistent across the jellyfish for a cohesive look. Add dashes and broken lines instead of large, filled-in sections. Press and twist the pastel to apply color. Play around with pressure and different sides of the pastel to see what works best. Keep your strokes aligned with the jellyfish's shape to maintain flow. Let's use white to outline the jagged, fluffy edges of the arms. This white outline will emphasize the shape and bring a soft glow, making the arms look more dimensional and lively. Add a bold white highlight on the bell. This will really make it stand out and add a sense of light and roundness. A few more white lines in the bell can bring it all together. It's time for the tentacles. Using white, draw 4 flowing lines that curve and twist organically. Feel free to place them in front or behind the arms. These lines are delicate, adding an elegant movement to our jellyfish. It'll be best if you use consistently firm pressure and a narrower part of your pastel. You may need to practice this technique to avoid the tentacles becoming too chunky. Add the same accent colors to the tentacles with broken, skipping lines. These pops will give the tentacles energy and the essence of light reflection, creating a beautiful urethral effect. To make our jellyfish stand out, we'll fill in the background with black pastel. Outline the main negative shapes around the jellyfish's arms and tentacles, and then fill them in. Don't worry about full saturation. It's okay for parts of the paper to peek through. Get close to the jellyfish's edges without actually touching it directly. Messy is totally okay with this step of the project. Now take your accent colors again and blend them into the black. Use sketchy marks around the jellyfish. This creates movement, energy, and a sense of luminosity. Often art is clean and careful, but in this case, messy is actually part of what's going to make this look energetic. Continue filling the rest of the background with black, but don't worry about being neat. This rough approach adds to the texture and energy of the piece, enhancing the overall dynamic feel. Now, once again, blend the accent colors into the black background with quick, varied marks. This blending technique is going to make our water look really dynamic. Finally, use white to add a few dashed lines around the jellyfish for movement as if it's swimming. Add in any last touches and final details to bring your jellyfish to life.